A to Z Mysteries, Book Number 11, The Kidnapped King, by Ron Roy. Chapter 5. The next morning, Dink washed his hands and face, then tapped on Sammy's bedroom door. "Rise and shine," Dink said. "We're having pancakes and sausages for breakfast." There was no answer. Dink opened the door and peeked in. Sammy's bed was mussed, but he wasn't in it. "Sammy?" Dink said, glancing around the empty room. Where could he be? Dink wondered as he headed down the stairs. "Mom, Sammy's not in his room," Dink said. Dink's mother stopped, spooning pancake batter into a frying pan. "He's not? Where is he?" "I don't know, Mom." Dink shoved open the back door and looked around the yard. "Not out here either," he said. As Dink pulled the door shut again, his hand struck something sharp. "Mom, look at this!" he yelled. The wood around the door lock was shattered. Jagged slivers of wood stuck out. A few wood splinters lay on the floor under Dink's feet. "Oh my goodness," his mother said. "Someone forced the door open." She turned and hurried up the hall stairs. Dink followed his mom into the guest room. "Sammy," his mom called. "Sammy, please answer. If you're hiding, please come out." But Sammy did not answer. "I'm calling Officer Fallon," Dink's mother said, "and Joan Clinker. Why don't you run next door and find out if Ruth Rose's family saw anything?" Dink charged down the stairs and out of the house. He tore into Ruth Rose's yard and banged his fist on her door. Ruth Rose opened it, munching on a piece of toast. "Have you seen Sammy?" Dink asked, out of breath. She shook her head. "Why? Is he missing?" "Yes," Dink said. "Someone broke in. Sammy's gone." "What?" Ruth Rose yelled. "You mean he was kidnapped?" Suddenly, Dink heard a siren. He left Ruth Rose with the toast in her hand and raced back to his front yard. A police cruiser roared around the corner and whipped into his driveway. As the siren died, Officers Fallon and Keene burst out of the car. Dink's mom came flying out of the house. Her face was white. "Thank goodness you came," she told the officers. "I think our house guest has been kidnapped." Just then, a yellow taxi pulled up in front of Dink's house. The rear door flew open, and Joan Clinker climbed out. "What has happened to Sammy?" she called, running across the front yard. "We don't know," Dink's mother said. "He's not in the house, and the lock on our back door has been forced open." Joan Clinker put her hand to her mouth. She swayed, then started to topple. Officer Keene caught her just before she fell. "Bring her inside," Dink's mother said, running for the front door. "Take a look around," Officer Fallon told Officer Keene. Then he helped Dink's mother take Joan Clinker into the house. Ruth Rose appeared through the hedge that separated their yards. She was dressed in blue bib overalls, a blue shirt, and blue high-top sneakers. "Is Sammy really gone?" she asked Dink. "This isn't a joke, is it?" Dink shook his head. His mouth was so dry he could hardly swallow. "I think it's real," he said, remembering what Sammy had told them about his father's enemies. "But how could anyone just walk in and take him?" Ruth Rose asked. "Our back door lock is busted," Dink said. "They must have gotten in that way." Ruth Rose's mom and dad joined them as Dink explained. "Let's all search the street," Ruth Rose's dad suggested. He went to organize the neighbors. Just then, Josh arrived with his dog. "What's going on, Dinkus?" he asked. "Why's the cruiser here?" "Sammy is gone," Dink said. "We think he's been kidnapped." Josh's mouth dropped open. Then he grinned. "This is a joke, right?" Dink shook his head. "Come on, I'll show you where the kidnappers broke the kitchen door." Dink started for the front steps, but before he reached the door that opened, Joan Clinker and Dink's mother stepped out. "Are you sure you're all right, Joan?" Dink's mother asked. "Won't you stay for a while?" Joan Clinker shook her head. I have to make some phone calls, she muttered. Then she hurried into the cab and it pulled away. That poor woman, Dink's mom said, heading back to the kitchen. As Dink climbed the porch steps, something shiny caught his eye. He bent down and picked up a small piece of yellow glass. What's that? Ruth Rose asked. Dink stared at the yellow sliver. He remembered where he'd seen others just like it. This came out of Sammy's kaleidoscope, he said. Chapter 6. Inside the house, Officer Fallon examined the piece of glass. If this came out of the boy's kaleidoscope, how did it get to your front steps? He asked. The top unscrews, Dink explained. Sammy likes to take the glass out. Josh and Ruth Rose stood silently in Dink's kitchen. Pal lay at Josh's feet, snoozing. Dink was sitting at the table with his mom and Officer Fallon. Officer Keene had left to organize a search. Officer Fallon sighed. He left the piece of glass on the table and stood up. Green Lawn isn't that big, he said. We'll find the boy. I'll make sure every possible way out of town is checked. Try not to worry, okay? Dink's mother grabbed her car keys. I'm going to drive around and look for him, she said. Can we come too? Dink asked. His mother shook her head. You can help by staying by the phone, she said. She looked at Officer Fallon. Do you think the kidnappers would telephone here? Officer Fallon nodded. They might try to make contact, but kidnappers usually wait a few days before calling. They like to get the family worried, so they'll hand over more ransom money. Dink watched his mother and Officer Fallon leave. He heard the front door lock click into position. Look at this, Dink said. He showed Josh and Ruth Rose the damaged back door. Boy, this is creepy, Josh said. Poor Sammy, Ruth Rose said. He must be so scared. Let's go check out his room, Dink said. Maybe we'll find some more clues. The kids hurried toward the stairs. Pal followed them into Sammy's room, his long ears brushing the floor. Sammy's sheet and blanket were tangled, half off the bed. Dink walked over to the bureau. There was the kaleidoscope box and 2 small mounds of colored glass. Each mound was a different color. This is the kaleidoscope, Dink said, removing it from the box. See, he took all the glass out. Josh touched the jewels that decorated the kaleidoscope. Are these real? He asked. Sammy said they were, Dink answered. Ruth Rose was examining the pieces of glass. Where are the yellow pieces? She asked. What do you mean? Dink asked. The piece we found is yellow, she said. But all I see here is red and blue, no yellow. That's weird, Dink said. Let's look around. The kids began to search Sammy's room for the yellow glass. Pal waddled around, sniffing everything. Dink checked in the bathroom while Josh went through the clothes in the closet. Ruth Rose got down on her hands and knees and looked under the bed. Well, if there's yellow glass in this room, I don't know where it is, Josh said. He stepped away from the closet. Watch out, Ruth Rose yelled, stopping Josh in his tracks. She snatched something from the carpet where Josh was about to step. It was another piece of yellow glass. Just then the phone rang. Dink ran down the stairs and grabbed the phone on its 3rd ring. Hello? Dink listened for a minute, then yelled up the stairs. Hey guys, it's Officer Fallon. He wants to know if Sammy's pajamas and slippers are in the room. Can you look? He waited. Ruth Rose came to the top of the stairs. No PJs or slippers, she said. Dink spoke into his phone. We can't find them. After a minute, Dink hung up the phone. He climbed the stairs to Sammy's room. What's up with the slippers? Josh asked. Ron Pinkowski found a gold tassel near the river by his bait shop, Dink said. Sammy's slippers had gold tassels on them. But what? And one of Mr. Pinkowski's boats is missing, Dink interrupted. He stared at his two friends. Officer Fallon thinks the kidnappers took Sammy away in a boat.